It is 3 p.m. here in Cairo. My name is Ahmed Nader, and now it's time for a comprehensive look at the events taking place here in Egypt and the world with Panorama News and the News Hour coverage. And I have all the pleasure to be having with me over the upcoming hour my dear colleague, Mohammed Abdelminaim. Hello, Mohammed.
Hello, Ahmed. Thanks for this news bulletin. And it's time for headlines. My name is Mohammed Abdelminaim.
The Israeli occupation army kept up a large-scale raid for the fourth day in the Jenin city, in the northern part of the occupied West Bank. The occupation army imposed the curfew in the Jenin camp, while the bulldozers raised the entrance to the Yamoun town west of Jenin. The Israeli incursion was launched on Tuesday and killed at least 12 Palestinians and injured 40 more. After Gaza truce, Israel imposed tougher military measures across the West Bank, closing entrances into several Palestinian cities, increasing checkpoints and restricting the movements of Palestinians in measures not seen since the Second Intifada in 2000.
Meanwhile, Israeli occupation forces pressed 8,000 Palestinians to leave their homes in the Jenin camp. Jenin Governor Kamal Abul-Rub said the residents' departure have begun after the Israeli army ordered them to evacuate the camp and cut off power in the camp and several nearby hospitals. On Thursday evening, the occupation military said it only advised those willing and exit the area to do so via secure and organized routes.
Minister of Foreign Migration and the Egyptian Expatriates Affairs, Badr Abdelati, asserted the importance of continued coordination among Egypt, Qatar and the United States to ensure the full implementation of a ceasefire agreement in Gaza. The top diplomat made the assertion in a phone call with the U.S. Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, where he expressed a desire to work closely with the new U.S. administration to enhance the strategic partnership binding both countries and to promote the bilateral ties in different fields. Rubio, meanwhile, said that he appreciates the Egyptian pivotal role in the Middle East, being crowned with the efforts for brokering a ceasefire and the hostage deal for Gaza. The two ministers also exchanged the points of view and the assessment of the latest developments in crisis-hit countries, including Syria, Lebanon, Sudan, Libya, and in the African Horn and the Red Sea regions, along with the Egyptian water security.
In Gaza's Strip, the health ministry said the death toll from the Israeli occupation aggression had reached 47,283 Palestinians, the majority of them civilians, in spite of a ceasefire that entered a sixth day. The ministry said on Thursday that hospitals had received 122 bodies in the past 24 hours after they were recovered from under the rubble. Also, some Gazans have died since the cessation of hostilities from wounds inflicted before the ceasefire, where the health system in the Palestinian territory largely destroyed by more than 15 months of Israeli bombardment. A second group of prisoners are expected to be swapped between Hamas group and Israel on Saturday under the ceasefire deal. Media reports said 4 Israeli prisoners, including 3 female soldiers, will be released in exchange for 180 Palestinian prisoners with high sentences who will be exiled to other countries.
An official source at the Rafah Land Port Authority said that 130 humanitarian aid trucks entered the Gaza Strip through the Auja and the Karm Abu Salim crossing points. He added that a total of 1,700 trucks entered the Strip through the 2 points since the ceasefire began. Meanwhile, the UN official said that funding shortages may affect the UN's ability to maintain aid flows at the target levels throughout the Gaza ceasefire deal's first phase. The humanitarian coordinator for the occupied Palestinian territory said that the UN is seeking $4.1 billion for the occupied Palestinian territories this year, with nearly 90% set to go to Gaza.
Hezbollah said Israel has to completely withdraw from Lebanon as the 60-day period in the ceasefire deal comes to an end, adding that the Lebanese state should push for guarantee for the withdrawal. The group said in a statement that there had been leaks talking about Israel postponing its withdrawal beyond the period defined at the deal, adding that any breach of the agreement would be unacceptable. Hezbollah and Israel agreed in November to a US and French-mediated ceasefire under which Israeli forces were to withdraw from Lebanon and Hezbollah forces were to withdraw from southern Lebanon over a 60-day period ending next Monday.
Saudi Arabia's Foreign Minister Prince Faisal bin Farhan Al Saud visited Damascus to meet with the top officials in the new Syrian administration. Bin Farhan was last in Damascus in 2023 and met former President Bashar al-Assad, part of the Saudi efforts to end the years-long regional isolation of the Syrian then president. On Thursday, Bin Farhan paid the first Saudi high-level visit to Lebanon after years of strained ties. After meeting President Joseph Aoun in Beirut, Prince Faisal bin Farhan said that Saudi Arabia are greatly confident in the ability of the President and the Prime Minister to initiate reforms necessary to bolster the Lebanese security, stability, and unity.
Ukrainian military confirmed on Friday that Kiev had launched an overnight drone attack on Russia, claiming to have struck an oil refinery, power station facilities, and an electronics plant. Moscow had earlier said that its air defense systems shot down 121 Ukrainian drones over 12 regions and the occupied Crimean Peninsula. The Ukrainian General Staff said Ukrainian drones had struck one of the largest oil refineries in Russia in the Ryazan region south of Moscow and facilities at a thermal power plant in this same region. Russian state media had earlier reported that the plant in Bryansk had suspended operations after 6 drones struck production and storage facilities at the factory.
The White House said that hundreds of migrants and the deported hundreds in the United States were arrested and others flown out of the country on military aircraft as President Donald Trump's promised mass deportation operation got underway. Trump promised to crack down on the illegal immigration during the election campaign. On the first day in office, he signed orders declaring a national emergency at the southern border and announced the deployment of more troops to the area while vowing to deport the criminal aliens.
Powerful winds and bone-dry conditions could pose a challenge to firefighters battling new wildfires in Southern California, including a blaze that swelled over the past day and forced tens of thousands of evacuations north of Los Angeles. 4,000 firefighters battling the blaze have achieved 14% containment, a measure of the percentage of fire's perimeter brought under control. About 31,000 people were evacuated as the fire sent huge flames and plumes of smoke over a hilly terrain in the Castaic Lake area near Santa Clarita.
Back home, under the auspices of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, the 56th session of the Cairo International Book Fair was inaugurated on Thursday. 1,345 publishers and official Egyptian, Arab, and foreign authorities are participating in the book fair this year. The new edition also witnesses the participation of 10 new countries for the first time. The Cairo Book Fair was first inaugurated in 1969 and remains one of the world's largest book fairs and the oldest in the Arab world.
And now we go to economy. Deputy Prime Minister for Industrial Development, Minister of Industry and Transportation, Kamel Al-Wazir, reviewed with the Senegalese Minister of Infrastructure and Ports, Fatou Diouf, means to enhance bilateral cooperation in the field of maritime transportation, ports and infrastructure. Al-Wazir said that President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi directed intensifying efforts to implement a number of mega projects and to facilitate procedures to promote and increase fields of cooperation with African countries. For her part, the Senegalese minister hailed bilateral ties binding her country with Egypt and achievements witnessed in Egypt in all fields.
The International Monetary Fund has said that the humanitarian and economic situation in Yemen remains very difficult, noting that 70 million people remain in a situation of financial insecurity. The IMF predicted the Yemeni economy will contract again in 2025 after 2 prior years of recession, without specifying the extent of the expected decline. It issued this statement upon conclusion of a staff visit to meet with the Yemeni officials.
U.S. President Donald Trump told business leaders at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland, that he wants to lower global oil prices, interest rates and taxes, and warned they will face tariffs if they make their products abroad. The remarks were the first of Trump's 4-day all-presidency to global business and political leaders at a time when markets are on edge over his plans for broad tariffs on imported goods. Oil prices turned negative as Trump spoke, while the euro dipped and the US dollar swung between gains and losses against a basket of foreign currencies. That's all for now. Thanks for watching. I'm Mohammed Abdel Minam.
And I'm Ahmed Nader. Thank you for watching, and await Mohammed with the news coverage right after Panorama News. So stay tuned.